So the original movie, The Invoking, which was originally known as Cedar Ridge, I have to say I didn't like it. It was boring, nothing really happened, and it was cheap. So I was kind of surprised when we got to see Invoking 2. So what was this like? Well, this is actually a completely different film, unrelated in any way to the first movie. In fact, it's even a different format. This is actually a anthology story. So it has 6 completely unrelated stories with no wraparound either. It's literally just one after another, 6 kind of supernatural, ghostly stories that I guess you can say maybe exist in the same universe as the first movie, but I think really it's just using the brand name because The Invoking is such a massive franchise. But anyway, I didn't like the first movie, so is this one any better? Yes, it is. This is a better movie and has a bit more going on. Now, I kind of have a bit of a issue with anthology films in general, because I feel the problem with them inherently is that you don't get to know the characters because obviously you're running at a much shorter time, and that is true of this film as well. This has 6 stories, each of them with basically dealing with some kind of sort of ghostly presence, basically. And like most anthologies, it's a mixed bag. Now, this still airs on the cheaper side, but I think it definitely does a better job of giving you the sort of the air of the supernatural than the first movie in the entire running length, basically. So the best story I thought was the second story, which I think was probably the most traditional. It basically involved two people going into a kind of abandoned mental asylum, and obviously it has a history and etc. And obviously the ghosts are coming out to play. That has, I guess, the most sort of special effect. I would say is probably the most traditional out of the kind of the stories that we've seen and kind of other horror films and stuff like that. There were a couple of other decent ones as well. The very last one is really short. It's literally a couple of probably 2 minutes, but I kind of quite liked it. And there's another one involving a kind of a serial killer who's holed up in a hotel room, basically, and is kind of courted, shall we say, by a sort of supernatural entity in a kind of fairly unique way, which again I kind of liked. The other ones though were a little weaker. There's one involving these kind of 4 friends that are kind of going out into a kind of remote cabin in the woods, as you do. And that one is probably one of the, well, it's either the longest or around the same time as the kind of the hospital one. And that one's because it's just poor, unfortunately. It's just a poor film. Some of the acting, especially in that one, is pretty bad. So it's it's definitely a mixed bag. There's not a lot of special effects in some of these kind of movies. You'll see kind of like ABCs of Death, Tales of Halloween, stuff like that. You will see a reasonable amount of special effects. Not so in this one. Like I said, the second story it's probably got the most sort of special effects in it, but even they err on the cheaper side. But nonetheless, I still found it more or less a fun film overall. I was kind of intrigued to see where some of the stories were going, although, like I said, a couple of them I kind of just wanted them to be over before they even started. So if you are a kind of a horror fan and you like your anthology films, you might want to check this one out. It has got pretty bad reviews on things like IMDb, but I don't think it's fair to compare it to much of the first film, which was a bad film. This one I think is a lot better. Still a long ways to go, but I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave a comment and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.